Sentire Media.
All right, thank you so much. You downloaded the podcast from Italy. I'm Jason.
Ciao, ciao. I'm Ashley.
Together we run and are sitting at La Tavola Marche, a little agriturismo in the middle of nowhere, Italy. It's the end of, well, we're not to the end yet. Middle part of October.
It's actually my birthday.
Oh my God! But seriously, you're in your mid-40s. Is it really?
No, I kept forgetting today.
Yeah, I'm not so happy when my birthday rolls around anymore.
No, moving along.
It is, the autumn is definitely here. We're in a little bit. It's been overcast and warm and kind of wet, which is we could use the rain.
Mm-hmm. Heavy rains throughout Italy the last week or so.
Yep, and we've been here a while now. Every time we get a good amount of rain in this country, everything floods. And you would think...
We're not talking about hurricanes.
No, just kind of a rainy day. A few rainy days in a row. And the whole country just...
So the coast like Sant'Angelo, where we saw the crazy flooding everywhere, was that from rain they got, or was it just from everything coming off the hills? Okay.
Both. But the whole town got washed out. Ridiculousness. Mm-hmm. Why do we not have...
And this just happens every year. So that's been a rough one. The saffron is coming up, but with the wet days, it's been making it hard to harvest what's coming up as quick as we can, because it'll pour overnight, and then they start not disintegrating. The flour starts to disintegrate, and you try to go down there in a muddy mess and pick everything up. But we're already set back because, thankfully, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last one, but you planted 1,000 saffron this year because nearly 1,000 were eaten by voles, moles, whatever it is.
Underground little animals. They did a number on them last year.
So now we have to figure out, do we need to pull all these up?
I think we should, yeah. Otherwise, we're just going to lose them.
I know, but then I'm also afraid of how we properly store them so we don't lose the ones we pull up.
You don't pull them up until the summertime when they go dormant.
That doesn't give the voles enough time to eat them?
I hope not. We'll see.
We will see. Speaking of the fields, the hay.
So interesting, this year, all the hay that was cut in the, end of June, beginning of July?
Sure.
Most of those bales have been, and these are giant, round, 500-kilo bales. They are enormous.
And it seemed like a good cut.
Well, we only got one this year because we didn't get a lot of rain. But more interesting is the farmers took what they needed for the winter and left the rest of them to rot in the fields. And I was asking around. It was
so confusing. And not only rot, but then some of them broke them apart and pushed them into the brush. And, what are they doing?
Well, it turns out that I don't know what happened to the market for hay, but that hay was only going from 3 to 5 euros per 100 kilos. So that means that big giant bale was only worth between 15 and 25 euros, and it's not worth coming the fuel or the time or the energy to come and pick it up and take it anywhere. So it just rots.
Heartbreaking. You do all the other work of the multiple passes, cutting it, rolling it, all of it, and now you just leave it.
Why not? Why bale it? Why bale it and move it?
Because they changed the price mid-season?
I don't know.
Idea. But
it's really weird to see just all these bales all over the place just rotting.
There's a few that got picked up, but that was from Sant'Angelo, I think, for his
cows. But otherwise,
they're just here at the end of the road. So anyone that had any distance or anything, like Jason said.
So if you need some hay, come on and buy and get some, because I can point you to about 50 bales within the valley.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, we're got a little bit of a cold coming on, so it's a rough...
I know, I've got this thing that I'm powering through, and I keep moving the mic, but if you hear my coughing in your ear, I apologize. I can't help it. Most hunting started the 1st of October, and it has not been a great hunting autumn so far. We have not heard a lot of shots. However, the mushrooms that have been coming have been
prodigious.
There have been, it looks like a parking lot here around our house. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. So many mushrooms. Elio, this old retired sweet guy, we've talked about him on the podcast before. He comes by almost every day. And every other day he tells us one of the same 3 stories. But he came by the other day with just humongous sacks, and he said that he was getting ready to go to the mushroom festival in Urbana, our neighboring town, the one that he lives in, and that they were doing a whole mostra, a show of truffles. And what they'll do is they'll put these tables together, and they'll do with moss and twigs and things like that, and they'll put real live mushrooms around the table, and they'll label them all for what their names are, and then if they are poisonous or not. And so he was collecting both the good and the bad to bring to the mushroom club for their show. But it has just been so many cars, traffico intenso. And it's all mushroom hunters because truffle season has been started slow, and most likely come December, end of November, early December, it should be looking good. But so there haven't been the truffle hunters. And like Jason said, hunting season kicked off, but it's been quiet. We were talking to the boar hunters the season's already started, why haven't you guys gone out? And they had a myriad of hilarious excuses of like, first was vipers for the dogs. Second is
too warm.
It's been too warm, and they just think the dogs will get overheated. But they go in the morning or late afternoon, and Gaggi's like, but they're hunting dogs. Like he was like, I don't get it. He goes, you don't want to go out right now. And then they were like, yeah, that's it.
Because we have seen, oh my God, our 2 dogs find either deer or boar shit.
Maggie should be in part of the crew.
Every single morning they roll in it. They love it. They think they're hunters, and they think that they're going to cover themselves in the smell. Ridiculous.
It's disgusting.
Ridiculous. It takes a half hour when you get home every
day
to hose them off, and you have to bathe them.
Gross. Anyway, back to what's been going on. Well, something not gross. Not gross. It's been the truffle season the truffle festival season has kicked off. And the first weekend of October, we went to the one and took the dogs to Pecchio, our closest little neighboring village. And we just decided, we've been to it every year, we're just going to go right around lunchtime and just do a walkthrough on a Sunday with the dogs, which meant it was not for us to enjoy in the sense of like stopping to have a drink or chatting much. But Leroy is a freaking showstopper. As soon as one person stopped in this piazza to ask if he could take a photo with Leroy, like 5 or 10 people turned around, pulled out their cameras. It was hilarious. No one ever notices Maggie, as per usual. Then we went last weekend and took the guests to the Truffle Festival in Sant'Angelo, which kicked off their festival season of every weekend having a truffle festival with some beer. And then the following one is with motorcycles, and we'll get to that in a second. But
not as great.
No, this year was kind of wah, 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 wah. They only had 4 truffle vendors.
After COVID, none of these festivals have been as good as they were before.
No, but what was fun, and the guests got to see, was they made this gigantic, they called it a frittata.
It was scrambled eggs.
It was scrambled eggs. Jason kept going, that's not a frittata. It was hilarious. I was like, it's in this gigantic pan. They used 600 eggs and 6 kilos of black truffles. And Jason just was talking shit. Oh, I don't know. He was like, I definitely don't want to eat that. You can see how overcooked those eggs are. But it was still fun to see, and everyone cheering in the crowd to get their free taste of a little frittata and truffles, and had a drink with the guests in the little enoteca in the piazza and showed them around. And that at least was a nice evening, nice weather. There was not a ton of people out. It was the first weekend, but everyone was talking, oh, it's the next weekend. That's going to be the big one, the Moto Raduno, which is the big motorcycle rally, which we love going to this one. Pouring
rain. Like not a single motorcycle there.
And
what a bus.
The guests decided, I told them I would take them and show them around and bring an umbrella, and they decided around 7 or so, let's do it. And oh my God, I sent pictures to Jason. It was just crickets. He stayed home with the dogs. He was like, enjoy yourself. They didn't even want to go and have a drink or anything. We just had the umbrellas, did a loop through town, and headed home.
There was absolutely...
There was like 4 motorcycles there.
Normally there's thousands. They ride,
oh my God.
It's so cool.
This is a European, like tons of people drive in from all over Europe for it too.
And they line the streets with the motorcycles, and it's from Harleys to Ducatis to Moto Guzzis, and everyone's got their leathers on, and it's a giant party. And this year literally, it was crazy, the photo you sent me.
It was sad. And then they didn't even want to have any stop for... I said, hey, good news is you could take your pick at any restaurant, bar, cafe, any table you want to eat at because there's plenty of space. But they were just like, let's go. So that was a washout. So this coming up weekend, the next 3 weekends, more Truffle festivals. So hopefully the weather will be better.
3 more weekends. Our season ends the middle of November, so 3 more groups.
3 more workshops.
Who's counting?
I don't know, but do you know the days? So this last Sunday, we were invited to the Boar Hunters lunch, as per usual this time of year. The last few years, we've been posting photos and videos of it. It's a blast.
They usually do one to kick off the season and to end the season.
So this was the kickoff, and I love it. It's in their clubhouse right below Gaggi's house, just below his house, halfway between our place, the main road in town, and they've got this sweet little space. And that's a little hall, like a mini hall. What would you call it? It's big.
It's like the big boys clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like, it's the place where
big
after
fireplace.
the hunt, they bring the boar and it's got a drain in the floor. It's a big room and like a system to hang up the boar so you can clean them. And then they just throw a bunch of tables in there. And it's, of course, lined with antique tools and photos and
boar memorabilia things.
The whole thing. The one thing that it doesn't have, and maybe we talked about this last time, was there are no heads on the wall. Taxidermy here is extremely, extremely expensive.
We did talk about it last year.
Okay, I don't know if taxidermy, why we're so into it in the States. Maybe it's not as expensive in the States.
I don't know.
have no idea.
But I do like a head.
But there's no heads on the wall, which is one thing that struck me as curious. Great. Last time they did, last winter to end it, we did pasta. This time they did polenta.
Polenta with Franchino. And Franchino and his family, they were the people who were not indentured servants, but they worked the land of the house. He was born in this house, and they
our house.
Yeah, in our big house. And they were the family that worked the land, and they left this house in 1955, which is crazy. And he just lives in Piobico, and he's a farmer still to this day. I was like, Jason... He was sitting across from us. I felt so honored. And I was like, look at his hands. Those are hands of a worker.
First off, his hands are giant for a small man. But also, they're all swollen.
He goes, that's arthritis. I was like, oh, shit. That's not great.
No.
But just a working man's hands. But so it was a fantastic group this year. First of all, we walked in, and I love it as we walk up, and we get welcome shouts of Candeliano, the name of our road. And everyone asks, where's the dogs? Why didn't we bring the big boy? And Gaggi showed up this year. That was nice. And some other of the neighbors from around there came that aren't necessarily hunters. But it was so great to see Emma, who is a 95-year-old woman who lives with their family. And it's like probably, 3 or 4 generations in that house. And they're a wonderful family. Emma is always dressed way more elegant than I ever am. She's got makeup on, her earrings and jewelry and a scarf around and everything. And she's drinking white wine that just has a touch of water added to the top and asking to take pictures with everyone and sharp as a tack. And I found out they call her the Principessa di Piano, the Princess of Piano, the little neighborhood outside of Piobico where they all live. And I just loved it. She's revered, isn't she, Jay?
I love it. There's certain people. We're very.
Mm-hmm.
We live around a lot of octogenarians, and she is what would you call?
I don't even know. Fucking old.
But like working people who don't stop. Like she's out there hanging laundry. I pass their house almost every day, so she's out there hanging laundry or
getting
sleeping
eggs
or getting eggs or whatever, but moving, moving. We should all be so lucky.
I know, but it's just great to see these guys. So also with Franchino sitting across from us, it's I'm always trying to ask him stories about the house or who lived across the road from us. This house has been abandoned since we've been here. And he'd tell us these crazy stories and find out how everyone was related. And I don't know. It's such a cool thing because obviously there's no written history of this little valley we live in. But just to still have the opportunity to hear some of these stories brings it to life, you know?
It's also nice to do things with the community again because through the late spring and all summer long, everyone's busy with whatever they're doing, with tourism or farming or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now that October, November comes, more of the local things start, and it's nice to see everyone again.
I do also have to suggest as Franchino, the polenta maker, and his brother Piero sitting next to him. Neither one of them drinks a drop of water as they're eating polenta. Now, these guys are professional polenta makers and professional polenta eaters. They can throw it down for being little farming guys. And I said, I remember you always said this to me the very first time, but I can't not drink when I'm water, wine, whatever, when I'm eating polenta. And he said, it just makes you more thirsty. Every drink you have and every bite you have, it makes you have another. And I was downing this bottle of wine. I was like, you're right. And then he said, and then the secret is, before you drink anything, you must have one piece of bread. Hilarious. I was like, okay, you had me on the whole polenta. Don't drink; it'll make you thirsty. Kind of like a weird ketchup with French fries, or I don't know, something where it's like, yeah, it'll just make you more thirsty. Don't do it. But the one piece of their crappy bread to then say that is what then makes you not thirsty and won't overdrink. It was like, I don't know.
Maybe that just sucks it all up. But the polenta does a good job of sitting in your stomach like a brick.
I know.
At least the weather is appropriate, though.
Exactly. I know. Normally they do this in August.
Yeah, normally we do polenta in August. It's way too heavy and way too hot. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
I also have to give a shout out, not that anyone from that Hunter's Lunch will be listening to this, but Donatella, the woman who made the sugo, the sauce, it was incredible. I always love seeing the sizing and the portions of these things at these festivals because she made this huge pot of sauce that was over 20 kilos of tomatoes and 8 kilos of meat. And it was just, she had enough sauce to do this like 5-layer polenta lasagna, which watch on Instagram. I'll be posting a video of it shortly. And the frittata video I posted just today on Instagram. So check that one out too. But, not only to see how they did this layers of lasagna in 2 huge pans of it that are super deep, but then she still had a shit ton left over. And I was just like, wow, that is, that's a lot of sauce then, but I love it. Oh, Jason's getting ready to cough.
I was going to say something, but then I was going to cough. All right.
So what else is going on? Like Jason said, it's the countdown to the end of the season, and we're going to do a little getaway. We have someone who was a guest who's moved to Italy. Long story short, we think we have found a dog sitter, and we're doing a little test run, and we're going to stay in Italy, but we thought it would be fun to go back to Carrara, but more specifically Colonnata, the town at the top, where we talked about this on a podcast before when we went there, and I think it was 2020, 2021. And Colonnata is where the Lardo di Colonnata is from. And can you explain what that is?
Since the marble quarries are up there, they take the lard from the back of the fat from the back of the pig off the back and put it under a water and salt and herb solution in marble boxes and leave it for a year or a year and a half. And then take it out and you slice it very paper thin, transparent, and put it on bread. And this was to give the quarry workers energy to go up there and by hand saw pieces of marble. And when you eat a sandwich of this, like they put it on bread and you eat a sandwich, you don't need anything else the rest of the day.
It's really good. Well, we did eat lunch that day.
we didn't need to.
We didn't have to, but we definitely threw down the fish. But anyway, we decided to go back up there because we only went hilariously for our stomach for the Sammys, and we checked out like from afar the marble quarries.
Well, I also bought a box.
Yeah, and the box. But I mean, we went up food related. This time we're going up to do a cool behind the scenes marble tour. and of the quarries.
Mostly, I'm interested in how they cut it out and how you bring it down.
I know you're going to have a ton of questions, so that'll be fun. We'll keep you guys posted when we get back from that, how that went, and give you guys the details on our little trip to Lucca and Colonnata. But other than that, we're going to have to get back to work.
Yeah, there's, again, not a lot going on. This is honestly our busiest time of the year, so I know the last two have been kind of wanky, not very informative, or the duration that we're normally putting out.
I know, but better something than nothing.
There you go. All right, bring it home.
All right. Oh, dolcetto or scherzetto. Happy trick or treat. Happy Halloween. And you know to find us at La Tavola Marche, LATAVOLAMARCHE. You can find us at latavolamarche.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all X, whatever. I'm not even really on there. But, or shoot us a message, info@latavolamarche.com, and we'd love to hear from you or see you at our farmhouse. All right. Ciao, ciao.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com. That's SENTIRE media.com and find out how to submit your show.